Contamination OCD is a subtype of OCD that centers around contamination, illnesses, and germs. And the fear and anxiety that we get from this subtype is based off us possibly becoming contaminated by someone or us contaminating somebody else. What's going on, my peoples, man? Appreciate y'all tuning back into the channel. If y'all haven't already, man, make sure y'all subscribe and turn on post notifications so y'all don't miss a beat when I upload. And as y'all can see by the title, we're going to be talking about contamination OCD. Now, before we get too deep into this video, man, make sure y'all follow me on all my social medias. I'm going to put them right here. And yeah, without further ado, let's get straight into this video, man. Something that I failed to mention in the intro of this video is that not only do we fear being contaminated or contaminating others when it comes to this subtype, we also fear that, we could possibly become contaminated and, of course, get sick or worse, die. And another fear is that we contaminate other people and they may get sick or, die. And as y'all know, when it comes to these triggers that we fall into, when it comes to any subtype, we fall into compulsions to, prevent these things from possibly happening. And in this video, I will be explaining the triggers and the, compulsions that we deal with when it comes to, contamination OCD. So let's get into it. When it comes to this subtype, there are different forms of contamination. You have physical contamination, where you have a fear of becoming contaminated due to someone or something. And then you have mental contamination, where you feel, that you may be dirty internally, or you feel like a certain thought, a certain memory, or a certain feeling can make you feel, contaminated. And then you have emotional contamination. So this is basically you feeling like something or someone can carry, some type of negative energy, and that can be transferred to you by you being, next to the person or that something that is, considered, negative. A few common obsessions when it comes to contamination OCD is one that I, said this throughout this whole video, like you fearing that, you may contaminate someone else and become sick or, die, or the other way around, someone contaminating you and you become sick or you may die. Another obsession when it comes to contamination OCD could be the things that you intake. So like, let's say, you feel like your food could be contaminated. Like, what if it's undercooked and you become sick after eating it? Or what if the person that's serving you your food, didn't, wash their hands properly? Or if the utensils that they use wasn't clean, what if, the germs from that was, transferred to your food and you become sick, stuff in that nature. So when it comes to these videos I'm doing right here, I try to share, some of my experience with, these subtypes if I've dealt with them. And contamination OCD is one that I've dealt with for, like quite some time, but it's not like to the full extent, what I'm saying? Like I said, it's not like my other subtype that I deal with, but a personal obsession that I have that I feel like is contamination OCD, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. For example, I'll go use the bathroom, and as if you're a clean person, after you get done using the bathroom, you use tissue, something to, clean yourself off. And for me, like, let's say, like, the roll of tissue, like the end of it is touching like the floor or something. Me, if I see that, I'm ripping off that piece every time, and I'm, putting it in the toilet or the trash, whatever, because I feel like that part has been contaminated because it touched the ground, and I feel like if I, wipe myself with it, I could possibly, get some type of, like germs, infection, whatever you want to call it. Like that, I feel like that, the dirt, the germs that could be on the ground will transfer to the tissue, and if I put it on myself, it will get to me and I become sick. And yeah, I don't know why that was so hard to say right there, but anyways, damn, I wasn't supposed to say the compulsion I fell into, because ripping the tissue off was the compulsion, but I was gonna say that for the future. I said the future, the compulsion part of this video. But yeah, that's an obsession that I fall into when it comes to contamination OCD. If that's contamination OCD, I feel like it is though. But yeah, speaking of compulsions, now it's time to talk about the compulsions that you can fall into when it comes to contamination OCD. So let's get into it. As y'all know, there are two types of compulsion that you can fall into when it comes to OCD. You can fall into physical compulsion, where everything that you do is physical and it gives you insurance about the certain episode that you're in, or you can fall into mental compulsion, where this is basically everything that you do mentally. So ruminating, changing of thought and stuff in that nature. When it comes to contamination OCD, a few physical compulsions that you can fall into are excessively washing your hands, excessively cleaning, avoiding public bathrooms when you're out, avoiding human interactions, so no shaking hands, no hugs, and throwing away items that you think are contaminated. Now, of course, there are not a lot of mental compulsions that you can fall into, but when it comes to this subtype, a few mental compulsions that you can fall into are, excessively praying, repeating words and phrases to undo the contamination that you feel like you have, and yeah. Now, I should have stated this in the beginning of the video, but I didn't. But I just want to let y'all know, this is the end of the video, but I do want to let y'all know that OCD is not one size fit all. So if I did not, mention a trigger, obsession, compulsion that you fall into when it comes to contamination OCD, it does not mean that you don't have OCD, and it do not mean that you don't have contamination OCD. Like I said, OCD is not one size fit all. So what triggered me may not trigger you, and what triggered you may not trigger me. And all the triggers, compulsions, obsessions that I mentioned in all my videos are, from research. These are the most common triggers, obsessions, and compulsions that are talked about when it comes to the OCD world. So yeah, and I know there are a lot of triggers that I fall into when it comes to, the subtypes that I deal with that are not talked about enough. But once again, OCD is not one size fit all. So that does not mean that I don't have OCD, and, yeah. But I hope this video was informative to whoever watching this. If you have contamination OCD, just know you're not alone. You are very seen. You are seen. You are understood. And once again, you're not alone. And yeah, if you're someone new to OCD and you're learning about it, I hope this video was informative to you. I hope this helped you, kind of help someone else that's dealing with OCD around you, if you have someone that's dealing with OCD around you. And yeah, if you haven't already, make sure y'all leave that like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and turn on post notifications so I don't miss a beat when I upload. And if you haven't already, make sure y'all follow me on all my social medias. I'm gonna put them right here. And yeah, also, if you haven't already, check out my last video right here where I was playing split fiction with my best friend. And yeah, hope y'all enjoyed the video. That is it. Have a great day or a great night whenever y'all watching this, and until next time. That is not my intro. And as always,